Am I the idiot for bringing up my brother's premature birth at Christmas dinner to get my parents to shut up? I am a nurse practitioner and I am the primary care provider for a lot of the low-risk maternity cases at the practice where I work. I also work hand in hand with the doctors and midwives to create a healthy maternity, birth, and postpartum situation. My fiancée is completing her residency. We live together and have for a few years now. We aren't in any hurry to get married. We originally had plans to do so a couple of years ago, but then we got really busy for 2 years. It is driving my very religious parents crazy that their youngest son is living in sin. I don't really care. I'm an adult and I do what I want. We are getting married in June. We are visiting my parents for Christmas. The way it came together this year, everyone is at my parents' house. So that's my folks, my 3 siblings, myself and fiancé, and 7 grandchildren. So 17 people. At dinner my mom starts going on about how she is so glad that we are finally getting married and she won't be embarrassed at church anymore. And my dad says how proud he is of his 3 older kids who all either waited to get married before moving in together or got married right away after moving in together. My fiancé was getting embarrassed and I was getting mad over this stupid argument we have had too many times, and a family dinner was the last straw. I have asked them repeatedly to just accept that they cannot control how I live my life. I refuse to stay with them when I visit even if I come alone. Hotels are just easier. So I started talking about a premature baby I had been reading about. It was almost 3 months premature and weighed about 1.6 pounds. It was super strong and healthy for being born so little, and the NICU had high hopes for the baby doing well. My mom and dad both got deer in the headlights looks on their faces, too bad. They should not have messed around with my fiancé's feelings. So I asked about my oldest brother. He was born almost 4 months premature. Is there a chance that we could check out the family album where we keep all the records of family births and stuff? I already know my brother was over 9 pounds and almost 23 inches long when he was born. My grandmother told me all about it the first time my parents tried to shame me. The subject gets changed very fast. After supper my parents told me that I should not try to embarrass them with private things that are not my concern. I told them that if I heard anything about my living arrangements ever again for the rest of my life, I would make sure to keep bringing up the fact that my mom was in her 2nd trimester when they got married. My parents are mad at me for telling them how to behave in their own home. But my fiancé is happy that they seem to be off the subject for good. Am I the idiot? Top replies. Not the idiot. That was beautifully handled. You didn't call them out and embarrass them. But you stood your ground. I did laugh out loud when you said where you got your blackmail information. Grandma had that in her pocket for a long time, I'm guessing. Congratulations on your upcoming wedding. Merry Christmas and I hope you have a great new year. The second reply. Not the idiot. I absolutely love this. My own judgy grandmother pretended to be oh so moral in the old-fashioned sense. My father accidentally revealed that she was pregnant when she got married to my grandfather. That was incorrect. She wasn't pregnant at all. My oldest uncle was about 7 months old when they got married, LMAO. And why they couldn't get married sooner? My grandfather had to get divorced from his first wife first. It's often the people with most things to hide who enjoy judging others for things that are none of their business. The third reply. Not the idiot. They're hypocrites. The fact that they fabricated going through a really grueling, often tragic, thing just to keep up appearances? Really tells ya where their priorities are. Standing up for your fiancé and yourself was much needed. Second story. Am I the idiot for losing it and telling in-laws to stop calling me mama and trying to erase my identity? I have 2 kids, 2F, 4F. I effing hate how everyone thinks of me as being just a mommy now. I don't get to be my own person. I'm just mommy. Husband doesn't face this. He gets gifts from everyone that have to do with his hobbies. Me? I get a bunch of mommy shit. Tee-hee. Mommy needs wine. And like matching outfits. I don't mean like one of those cutesy matching pajama sets that the nurses and horse girls wear in their staged Christmas Insta pics. I mean like, people actually think I'm going to go out in public wearing some cutesy matching outfits with my toddlers. As though I think they're mini versions of myself? Or dolls? From the time we got to the in-laws, it was, Mama, this and Mama, that. At some point, my son-in-law said it and I said, you know my name is Carmen, right? She just looked at me funny and said, of course, silly. I said, so why do you keep calling me, Mama? You aren't going around calling husband, Papa? Son-in-law just looked at me like I had two heads and was like, okay. This went on all over Christmas. Here you go, Mama. Want another slice, Mama? At that point I was just like, do you guys mind calling me by my name instead of calling me Mama? The same son-in-law as before did the whole golly gee doe-eyed thing and said, but you're such a good mama. I said that I'm not just a mom. I gestured to the things that husband got for Christmas from them, and said, why didn't you guys get him anything that says, Papa? Everything you gave me is somehow related to me being a mom. Why does he get to be his own person? Mother-in-law grabbed my hand and squeezed it and said that she was sorry that she made me feel like this. She was just so excited about being a grandma and she never really thought of things like that. I was feeling a little better until SIL2 and SIL3 started going after me. One of them did that whole, are you okay? Do you need to talk someone? You sound so angry. It isn't healthy, faux concern thing that's meant to shame you for having any emotional response. The other one was angry and saying that, is being a mom somehow beneath you, and, do you think you're better than the rest of us? And all that. When we finally left, he asked me why I'd kept it in for so long, and I said that I haven't. No one listened to me before. I've said these things plenty of times. I've always asked them to call me by my name and not some disgusting nickname that boils me down to giving birth. He nodded, but said that I'd put a big pallor on the weekend and that I need to apologize for the outburst at some point. I said sure, as soon as Sills apologized to me for dehumanizing me for years. We're at a stalemate. Am I the idiot? The top replies, not the idiot. Once again, this is a case of family members needing to be confronted about their behavior, because politely asking them to stop didn't work. And then it's all, why didn't you say something? Your answer to your husband is exactly correct. If you need to apologize for your outburst, then they need to apologize for their failure to listen to you until you reached your breaking point and had an outburst. The second reply, it's also sad that her concerns are being dismissed as possible post-baby distress. My ex used to do that anytime I would get mad, blame any strong emotion I had on PPD. Our infant was allowed to dump an entire bottle of baby powder all over the freshly cleaned house while I was at work. Geez babe, don't be upset. You want to hurt the baby, don't you? No. I am sad/mad I have to reclean the house when he should have been supervised. Our infant got the flu really bad and I had to use all of my savings to pay for his meds. Was $100 and I wasn't mad at getting him meds. I was crying because I had worked so hard to build that up. OMG, why are you crying in the middle of the store? It's 'cause you want to shake our baby, isn't it? Even my mom and sisters treated me like I was a menace to my baby. I would bring up how awful I was feeling and they would snatch him away and try to keep him from me because I obviously wanted to burn him in a trash can or throw him in a dumpster after suffocating him. No one at work even believed me when we all talked about mom stuff. I actually never had a desire to hurt either of my kids. I was an emotional train wreck, but violence towards them was never something I felt or thought of. I felt so insignificant because I wasn't allowed to be mad or sad or upset about anything a normal person would be allowed to get upset at. It was awful and led to me withdrawing away and never asking for help or advice again in regards to my kids, except for some mom friends online. Third story. People I thought were my friends have been making fun of my dad. I, female 16, have a dad who has a mental disability. My biological mom took advantage of my dad and got pregnant, then after she had me, she left. My grandparents took care of me, and my dad still was and is a big part of my life. He just couldn't take care of a kid. My dad and I spent a lot of time together. He also lives with my grandparents. My dad always goes to all my different activities, definitely my biggest supporter. When I play volleyball and basketball, he's the loudest one, always cheering me on at games, or my orchestra performances after it's done. He talks a lot about how good I did and he naturally talks kinda loud. My main friend group knows that my dad has a mental disability and at my events see how he gets, but they've never said anything to me. This morning I got a text from a guy who is somewhat part of my friend group but I don't know him that well, said I need to see this. It was a video of my whole main friend group making fun of my dad, and how he acts and talks. They were hysterically laughing at him. I can't stop crying. I thought these people were friends but I guess not. Update. So I ended up talking to my grandparents, showed them the video, and asked what I should do. They thought it was best if I didn't confront them and just block their numbers on social media. My grandparents are going to contact their parents and see how it goes from there. I also thanked the guy who texted me and sent me the video. The top replies. This is really awful. Despite his mental disability, your dad is probably in the top 1% of dads for love and support of his kid. Don't lose sight of that at all. If this was me, I would resend that text to the people who were laughing to let them know you know what kind of people they are and then go no contact, except for that guy who sent that, as he is the only stand-up one of the bunch. The original poster replies. I know my really dad loves, cares and supports me, which isn't always common, so I have a great dad despite his mental disability. I plan on confronting those friends. The second reply. Don't waste your time on confronting them because they will only try to find excuses or worst insult you and make fun of your father to your face. You don't need that. Send them the video like that, they will know you know, block and ignore them. Fake people don't deserve any attention of yours. Talk to people who had values, not trash like them. Your dad is a great man. After his disability and being through hell, he still be in your life and there for you. If only parents were the half of yours, many kids around the world will be more happy. Be proud of your dad and don't waste words with disgusting people like them. The third reply. Update. So I ended up talking to my grandparents, showed them the video, and asked what I should do. They thought it was best if I didn't confront them and just block their numbers on social media. My grandparents are going to contact their parents and see how it goes from there. I also thanked the guy who texted me and sent me the video. Fourth story. Does my husband's therapist have a crush on him, or is she just really kind? I'm female, 30 years old, husband, 30 male, started therapy about a year ago to deal with some issues related to growing up. Nothing crazy, fairly run-of-the-mill baggage from your family. The issues had started to creep into our relationship, so I asked him to please get therapy. He obliged and found a woman, late 20s to mid 30s maybe, who was covered by our insurance and seemed to be a good fit for him. I've been in therapy on and off for about 10 years. I suffer from depression and anxiety, but it's all pretty well managed. Point being, I know how therapy usually goes. The first thing I noticed was that she regularly goes over time on his sessions. It's supposed to be 50 minutes, but she's never kept it to under 1 hour, and has gone as long as 2 hours. Nothing particularly crazy is happening in these sessions where she goes long. I would understand if some big breakthrough was happening, but he says the conversation is pretty normal. I'm not stalking his sessions, by the way. This is stuff he shares with me. She also always reminds him to text her if there is an emergency. He doesn't really have mental health emergencies. I know some therapists text and I think it's a nice offer, but she seems to want to have a very open line of communication. She also texts him to remind him about his appointments, seems perfectly reasonable, but then will also include a little something extra like, I hope your week was good. Or a smiley emoji. My therapists have never texted me, which I'm completely fine with, and it's always been expected that I will remember my standing weekly sessions on my own. Lastly, she's offered to be our couple's therapist after slightly hinting at us maybe getting divorced. A divorce is not something either of us want. We've had some bumps in the road, but definitely nothing catastrophic, and we've openly told her that that feels way out of line. She also tends to therapize me even though I'm not her patient, and she's only talked to me briefly. I in no way want to control who my husband sees for therapy, and he does genuinely seem to be getting something from their sessions, so it feels wrong to disrupt that. I should add that he thinks it's possible that she has a crush on him and that he's not attracted to her. Top replies. I was with the therapist until the divorce talk. Now, This is something that she told your husband, and he told you, and you're telling us, so it's very possible that she said and meant it in a different way than it sounds here. You can calmly tell him that you're not comfortable talking to her. That's 100% you're right. If there is ever the need for couples counseling, you can go to someone else. Then, trust him to make his own decisions. If he's getting something good out of therapy with this woman, he might want to still see her even if her behavior isn't 100% great. Especially since it sounds like you don't exactly have hundreds of other choices lined up. Even if she has a crush on him, and that's a huge if, because that'd be incredibly unprofessional, so let's leave this hypothetical, he's in no way obliged to reciprocate. If her behavior makes him uncomfortable, he'll do something about it. If she'll start to be annoying about him divorcing you, and he doesn't want to, he'll stop going. The original poster replies, "Thanks for the rational and thoughtful reply. I was actually in the call when she mentioned divorce. My husband and I were both kind of taken aback. Basically, she was offering to help us end it amicably. We were both kind of like, thanks, but I think we both want to stay together. I will ultimately leave it up to him after letting him know my concerns. I'm not worried about his acting on it, but I am worried she'll give him bad advice.